Hello everyone, this is Edward Zier here, and I'm sitting here with the amazing Lucy, who I can't pronounce your last name. How to pronounce your last name, Lucy?
Milekovic.
Lucy Milekovic, is that right?
That's it.
Now, Lucy Milekovic I've been very lucky to work with the amazing Lucy. She runs a bookkeeping agency, and you've got heaps of staff, haven't you? How many staff have you got, Lucy?
I've got 5 staff.
5 staff, and you outsource a lot of work too, and you've got this beautiful bookkeeping firm based out in the Sutherland region of southern Sydney.
Yes, that's right.
Well, we're about, 25 kilometres of the CBD for our North American viewers?
Yes, about that.
Yep, and it's been absolutely amazing, and this is actually quite an embarrassing thing for me to say, but we've actually done this interview before, and I didn't back it up and I accidentally deleted it. Am I a bit of a silly Billy, Lucy?
Yes, you are, Ed.
Yeah, my fault, I'm wrong. And here I am, recompensing the fall and redoing the interview. Now, Lucy and I are actually sitting on a park bench drinking... What are you drinking, Lucy?
Skinny latte.
And I'm drinking a soy hot chocolate. And look, really, I just wanted to Lucy is an amazing businesswoman. She's achieved a level of independence and success that is quite rare. And really, as a marketing mentor that specialises in helping out small business owners, I thought your story had to be told, Lucy.
Oh, well, thank you.
And now this is second time's a treat, be it so repeated. Tell me your story again. How did you start this business and where'd you come from?
Okay, so I started UBS 15 years ago, and I was working from home for a company, and 1 week before my second daughter was due to be born, I was retrenched and lost my job because they sold the company to a corporate overseas company. So the whole accounts department was retrenched. So I had my daughter Vicky, and then a few weeks after that started up UBS.
Wow, absolutely amazing. So you just started off your business. And I remember last time when we did this interview the first time, you had a bit of trouble, didn't you? You were, what happened to you before you had your daughter and the whole UBS thing? Didn't you get fired or something like that?
Yeah, well, I was retrenched.
Yeah,
yes.
How did that go for you? What was actually sort of going through your mind?
Well, it was very traumatic. So, because I had my whole life plan was worked out, and it was all going along according to plan, which I'm a very organised person. I was very happy about that. And then for something out of your control to happen, threw a spanner in the works, and I had to rethink everything. So it's worked out for the best, though. And so when I started the company, I started from 0 client base and just went through the paper looking for a job. So there was a job there for a bookkeeper, and I rang them and basically convinced them that they didn't really need an employee in-house. They could outsource to me and have it done remotely. So
in other words, you were pregnant. Before you were pregnant with your child, you were retrenched, and it must have been a very horrible experience.
It was.
But I suppose those horrible experiences create entrepreneurs, don't they?
They do, yes.
Yeah, so
you had no choice.
Yeah, exactly. So you went through this horrible experience. That must have just been not a fun thing to deal with. So you went through this experience, and then afterwards, you got your first bookkeeping work by ringing up potential job interviews and talking them out of hiring someone.
Yes, for that first one, yes. And then the accountant of that client of mine rang me because he liked my work and rang me and said, "Are you looking for more work?" And that's where it all started to flow from there through referrals.
I get it. So bad thing happened to you. You got immediately back on the horse. You rang up someone. You talked them out of hiring a staff member and outsourcing it completely to you. And you were working from home at the time, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I had 2 children at that stage, and needed to work from home because they were both very small.
Wow, so you're like the true example of the working mum. You've got children and You're busy playing entrepreneur and kicking ass at the same time.
Yes, that's right.
That is just amazing, Lucy. And the thing that I guess I think most people will ask is, when you first crack the surface and you've got your first client, what happened? So what was it like doing the first amount of work not as an employee? What was it like going from the employee mindset to the business mindset, Lucy?
Well, it was very difficult, and I think for a long time I still had an employee mindset for a very long time because the focus really was the kids, I guess, and the business was something on the side. But then as the kids grew, the business grew, and then the business became more of a focus.
Right.
So as a business, not a job.
Got it. So originally you did treat it a bit like a job, but you're just working at home. But over time, as the kids grew, you started thinking more as a business person.
Yes, that's right. Because I got to the point where I kept getting clients, and I got to the stage where I couldn't manage it myself anymore. So I either had to make the choice of getting people to help me, so having a staff member, or actually getting rid of some clients because I was in a position where I couldn't look after them properly.
Yep. And you obviously chose to become a powerful business owner and expand.
Yes, I did.
and my hat goes off to you. I mean, it's an amazing business that you've built. And the thing I've noticed, because I've visited your office quite a few times, every time I walk in there, the staff seem really happy and focused on their work.
Yeah, no, they're good. I've got a very good team behind me, and I definitely wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now if it wasn't for them.
How did you build... And I, again, as you know, I've worked with, I think actually over 1,000 people now, be it through workshops or one-on-one. I've worked with a lot of people, and I've been in all sorts of offices across Sydney, actually Australia. But the point being is, how did you build such great productive camaraderie?
I guess, well, the production side is through the checklists and procedures. So everyone and the staff like that because they know what they need to do and they know what is expected of them. So that, I guess, makes for a more content workplace for them as well. They also know if there's a procedure there, let's say they've got a payroll deadline and they wake up and they're sick that day and they can't make it into work. They know because we have those systems in place that another staff member will be able to do that job for them. So there's no pressure on people to have to show up when they really can't. You know, if they're sick or their kids are sick, somebody else can step up and do that job for them.
So you're saying you've got a form of redundancy that protects their staff from burning out while they're sick?
Yes, that's right, exactly.
It's funny you say that because, and I hate to just be straight up with you, but I know so many small business owners around town that if they have a staff member that's sick, it's like basically the volcano exploding in Pompeii.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, do you see that sort of stuff across town much in your own travels?
I do. I mean, we have experienced that before ourselves, but that's where you put systems in place so that you don't end up in that position again. So whenever we do have a problem and we're feeling pain, I try and put something in place so that that won't happen again.
I got it. So whenever something goes pear-shaped, you create a process to prevent anything going pear-shaped again in that regard.
Yes, that's right.
That's very, very clever adaptive learning because don't you see all the time, and I see this quite often, people just get angry and blame someone and don't improve the situation.
Yes, well, yeah, but that doesn't really achieve anything. So, and it means you'll just keep falling into the same trap over and over.
Exactly, and I'm not being a smart aleck or anything, but it seems to happen quite a bit. Like, you know, a lot of people just get angry in this sort of game. They don't actually deal with it as productively as you do, Lucy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I guess I would see that sometimes, but generally speaking, a more proactive approach is definitely better. Solve the problem.
I love it, and I'm glad that truck just moved on.
Yes.
So there you go. So I'm sure everyone can hear us. And look, the big thing is, and I think this is sort of a fair comment. So going back in your original story, you got the business going, you got your first client, and you started getting good referrals from there.
Yes.
So how did your business grow? How did you, was it word of mouth? Did you do any other forms of marketing? What did you actually do to make the powerful, from a sales and marketing point of view, what did you do to get the size and mass that you have today, Lucy?
A lot of networking. So most of my business comes from referrals. So I go to networking events regularly so that people get to know you and can develop a relationship with you. So for someone to hand over their bookkeeping, I found that they're not going to Google a bookkeeper or anything like that. They want someone that they can trust. So they'll usually ask someone else that they know in business or their accountant if they know a bookkeeper. So if you are part of a networking group where all those people know you and you can develop a relationship with them, then they will refer you business.
Because I understand historically you used to actually run a few networking groups, didn't you?
Yeah, I was president of my BNI group for a year.
Wow. What was that like? What was it like?
It was great, actually. It was really good and a big learning curve for me. And things which I learnt there, I could also apply to my business in terms of having to be organised and do things well. So if you're heading up a group like that, people notice you more, so you want them to notice you for the right reasons. So you need to do a good job of it. And
of course, so you weren't paid for that position?
No.
So you actually volunteered as a networking leader to develop your own skills and actually boost your own business and all that?
Yes. Yeah, I used to really struggle with networking events, and I would be very nervous and very shy, not know what to say. But it's all just practice. You put yourself out of your comfort zone, and you get good at it after a little while.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've been in business for over 3 years, only about over 1.5 years full time now for me personally. And I found that when you just push yourself that little bit harder every day, you're a totally different person 6 months later.
Oh, you are. Yeah. No, you have to push yourself out of the comfort zone, otherwise you won't achieve anything.
In fact, Lucy, I think as a Persian marketing mentor who works Sydney, I suspect that I think most people don't have the success they have in their life because they're not willing to change and not willing to push themselves every day.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think there's something. You're a smart operator, Lucy. What's your view on about being adaptive and changing and pushing yourself?
Oh, you have to. So for UBS specifically at the minute, if we weren't prepared to change and get along with modern technology in terms of cloud-based accounting, I said to my staff that unless we were all prepared to do the training and put clients onto that new package, we could pretty much close our doors within 5 to 10 years. We would be out of business if we were not prepared to move with the changes.
Absolutely, and my understanding is you fully upgraded and you're an accredited partner in the Xero cloud-based accounting software.
We all are. Every staff member is, yes.
Wow, and that's just working amazingly well for you, I understand.
Love it, love Xero.
And what is so great about Xero? And I'll ask a general question actually. What is so great about cloud-based accounting? Why is that the in thing?
Cloud-based generally because your accountant can access it, the client can access it, and so can you. So whereas the old desktop version of MYOB, you would have to email data files, and then there was always potential that someone would be entering data into the wrong data file, or that people would not have up-to-date information all the time. Whereas the cloud-based, anyone can access that at any time.
Wow, that's very, very powerful. And the thing is that I found, and we spoke about this in our first take of this interview, was that I know there's a lot of bookkeepers out there that are just recalcitrant on the modern day Xero. And I know this is very unethical practice, by the way. I know they're recalcitrant because they believe they're going to get less bookkeeping revenue if they make it easier for their clients.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, well, it is more streamlined and more efficient. So, and most of the clients that we've converted over from MYOB to Xero have actually got a 20% discount on their bookkeeping fees with us.
Wow, so you've converted them over. So how does, and looking at it from your point of view, what I think your ethics and what you're doing for your clients are amazing, Lucy. But what about your own profits? How do you deal with that 20% hit in profitability per client?
Well, it's not a hit so much on our profitability because we are getting through it faster. And what it has done, it means that I now don't need to recruit for another staff member for a little while. I'm now overstaffed, so looking for more clients to fill that gap. So I'll be able to fill that gap without all the recruitment and the training costs. And it's very expensive to put on a new staff member. There's a good 6 months training worth involved for them to get around the UBS processes, and so that's quite expensive and takes a lot of time. So it's well worth it for us to increase our client base without having to increase our staff base, and that's what Xero enables me to do.
Wow, and I think it's a very interesting insight. So in other words, you're able to. That's actually really good. You're able to actually make your business more profitable and make it cheaper and more affordable for your clients and embrace new technology.
Yes, everybody wins.
Yeah, and I see what you mean. I can imagine that the bookkeepers that, you know, be it out of ignorance or poor ethics, the ones that don't embrace this new technology, there's no way they'd survive. No way whatsoever.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think they will, which is a shame because there's plenty of work out there for everybody, really. But I think that if you're not prepared to change with the times, and that's just not bookkeeping, I would consider that for any profession. If that's the way the market's moving and if that's what people want, that's what you need to give them if you want to stay in business.
It's funny you say that. I mean, talking my own business, I mean, I've been in business about 3 years now. I've been really full-time hard at it for 1.5 years now. And even in that time, my job's been totally different.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a pseudo website guy these days. All I do is just give all my marketing advice. Seriously, it's quite funny. When I started out, a lot of my advice is now based around social media and stuff like that. And
okay.
It's just funny how fast moving it is these days, isn't it, Lucy?
It is. No, it changes very, very quickly.
I was going to say, because you've been in business for 15 years, haven't you?
Yes, 15 now.
What are some of the big macro, I mean, obviously the internet's one, but what are some of the other more unique macro trends that you've seen occur over a period of time, Lucy?
Oh gosh, the internet would be the biggest one. When I first started, there weren't even really, emails weren't popular at all. Websites weren't, not 15 years ago. So that's all very new. And just the way that you process data, I guess, has changed so much. So with products like Xero, there's less data entry involved because the system does it for you.
Wow. And that's amazing. I think it's very interesting how you've done it. And the bit I like about your story is that I really admire how you've done it. You started off networking, you got your business going originally, that truck's moved on and thank God. And you started off your business originally, you did great work, you got referrals, and you used actual face-to-face business networking and being a networking leader to really build your business and get it there.
Yes, I did. Yes, and our networking is very important.
Yeah.
Most of our business is referral based. I did try a few other attempts at dropping flyers and that kind of thing for marketing, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
But now I have you as my marketing mentor. Things have picked up again because we have now the newsletters going out, which I talked about doing for 7 years and never did. So that was good. So it's good to say now that I have you on board, I have those marketing KPIs as well, which keeps me on track.
Oh, thank you, Lucy. And it's been a pleasure having you as an awesome client as well. And the thing I find interesting, this is why I think you're a wonderful client. You pay your bills on time, which I totally love. But beyond capitalism is, I hate to say it, by the way, and I'm talking about my clients today are fantastic, but if I go back not too long ago, I have a lot of clients that would pay me for advice. And they'd either debate me for my own advice or they agree with it and then do nothing about it.
Oh, well, that's a waste of money.
It's just crazy, I think, but it's surprisingly common. And the thing is, I remember telling you this, when I first met you, Lucy, I actually thought you were a business coach and I thought you were really sharp. Do you get thought of that all the time as a business coach?
Sometimes I do, yes. Yes, people will quite often ask me about that, yeah.
But
I'm not.
Because I was just going to say, have you ever thought about, because I think beyond being bookkeeping and running a business, I think you're a very, very savvy businesswoman. Have you ever thought about one day doing a bit of business consulting?
I have thought about that, yes.
And what are your views on that? I think you'd be amazing at that.
Oh, I don't know. I think the thought of building something up from scratch again, it's hard work.
Tell me about it.
It's a lot of hard work. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an idea that I have played with a few times. Whether I would actually do anything about it or not, I don't know.
Well, for the record, Lucy, and I'm sure the audience, which will be hearing this recording for years to come, thousands of times, will agree, that you'd be an amazing business consultant. I can just imagine you walking into businesses and telling them what to do next to make everything super more awesome, Lucy.
Well, thank you. I have seen a lot with the clients I've had. I've seen them succeed, I've seen them fail, and I've seen why they've succeeded and why they've failed as well.
And question, just talking generally here, obviously, in your experience, why does someone fail? What makes someone fail in business?
Oh, there's a lot of different reasons. Some of it is out of their control and it will be purely the economy. Others are people who don't want to change. So the technology side that we were talking about, I actually do know of one business that's gone bust because of that. And other ones just because people are now a little bit more careful with how they're spending their money and they might not value things the same way that they used to. And we're also now playing in a global marketplace, so people get things done overseas.
So if you're, let's say, supplying something that could be done overseas a lot cheaper, you got to watch out.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and it's funny that actually, because ironically tonight we're off to a manufacturing forum to talk about the actual declines of manufacturing in Australia. And you must have seen a lot of manufacturers bite the bullet over time, Lucy.
Well, no, not too many, but I have seen manufacturing companies struggle because a lot of it now is done in China. So for manufacturing to succeed here, they've got to have something which they can do, which is special and different to everyone else. So they need to specialise in something and which can't be done overseas. Got
it. So in other words, going head to head with China will get you...
You're not going to win.
You're not going to win. But if you're making unique technology that cannot be replicated, then the Chinese have got nothing on us.
No, that's right. So you need someone who's pretty switched on and who can possibly create and invent new things for people who are having a problem and don't know how to fix it. And you need to find somebody who can then create a solution for you and make it here.
Hence technological innovation, research, that sort of thing.
Yes, exactly right.
And it's funny tonight, I'm actually helping the Cumberland Chamber lobby the government on this issue.
Good.
So I'm going to quote the amazing Lucy from Ultimate Business Solutions as the hub of manufacturing.
Very good. Thank you.
And it's not like this interview's being recorded. And yes, it is. So look, that's great, Lucy. And I'd say I love the sort of advice and thinking that you're coming from, Lucy. Look, when you're doing amazingly well, where to from here? What are your future plans, Lucy? What are you conjuring up for the audience?
Well, just to keep growing as much as I have in the past, which is good. To keep that going, I've certainly got room for more growth with the current staff base I have, and if it grows past that, I'm more than happy to recruit and find the next staff member as well. We've got a junior in our office who is getting trained up, so soon she'll be a junior bookkeeper, and then we'd get another junior in, and then gradually people will get promoted up through the stages in the office, which is good. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So continual growth, building on what you have, more expertise.
Yes.
And I think this is absolutely amazing, the work that you're doing. So I was just going to say as well, Lucy, if you could go back in time, 15 years, and you could talk to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself, Lucy?
Do it all earlier than what I actually did. I was at the point where I was working from home, where it grew to the stage where I couldn't manage it anymore. It was taking up all my headspace. It was taking up half the house. And I should have moved out into an office earlier than what I did and got staff earlier than what I did. But I guess too scared at that time to take that leap and should have done that much earlier.
Yeah, good. And what eventually made you take that leap? Was it just the fact that, your blender was covered in paperwork?
My husband, Pete, said, go, because we actually owned an office at Sutherland, which we didn't have a tenant in at the time. And he said, go use it. So without that push, I don't know whether I actually would have ever done it.
So is that your office over there? Is that the same office?
Yeah, same office.
Oh, so you actually own the building?
I own that office in the building, yes.
So you're like a high-end property investor, You're a commercial property investor, Lucy.
Oh, well, I am for that one, yes.
Oh, well done. Oh, money bags over here. No wonder you buy the coffee all the time. No, I admire success, Lucy, and I'm just merely trailing in your footsteps. And I think it's amazing. And I was going to say as well, to anyone that's stepping into business, and we'll aim at women here because obviously you're very, very, you're obviously female and you're obviously a very successful female. In particular to women in business, what's your advice speaking more to women in business and often a very sexist world?
For a woman in business, I guess sometimes it can be very hard to do the juggle with family and business, and I think that's something that women have to do more than men as a general rule, not all the time.
Absolutely, it's a fair comment.
Yep, and you just have to try and make both work, and it's not always easy. I remember one time I was about to go and see a potential new client and picked up my daughter, who I think was 6 months old at the time, and she vomited all over me right before a meeting. So things like that will happen, and you just have to ring the people and be honest with people. I think that's the main thing. Don't say you're stuck in traffic or anything like that. Just ring and say, I'm sorry, we've had a disaster. Can we reschedule? And in that case, that client did. But other ones, you might miss out because things like that happen, and you just have to accept that.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing because, I mean, as a guy who's been single for a while, actually, I've had a few fiancés that just didn't quite go over the line, and I always find it amazing, like the whole thing of balancing a family, especially a young family, and a business. It must be a huge challenge, especially for women.
Sometimes it is very difficult. Yeah, it can be, but it gets easier as they get a little bit older as well.
Yeah, so I totally admire what you're doing. And I just want to say, this has been great, Lucy. I was just going to say, do you have any other pearls of wisdom or gems that the audience is just begging to hear, Lucy?
Oh, no, probably not. Just don't wait. Just go and do things. If you think that you might want to do it, just go do it.
Absolutely. And you heard it yourself on the Awesome Marketing with Edward's Ear, Lucy Milekovic channel. Now Lucy's just done an amazing job, and her business is by the name of Ultimate Business Solutions. So to go to ultimatebusiness.com.au and check out her absolute magnificent. Let me say that again. Her absolute magnificent. How do you say-
Absolutely magnificent website.
absolutely magnificent. Wow, there's something. You know what? I'm gonna stop. Her great website. Her website is brilliant. So make sure you check that out. And just want to say a big thank you, Lucy. It's been a very amazing interview hearing about your marketing and business success.
Thank you, Ed.
Well, this is goodbye from Edward's ear.
And Lucy.
Have a great day or night, everyone, and make sure you surf through the website for some great content. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.